Hi, guys. So, what I'm going to focus on answering today is this question: can I find a great project manager from the Philippines? This has come up a few times and I would like to address it. So, the answer is yes and no. It's complicated, and let me explain that. The first thing that you need to bear in mind is the Philippines is a very different type of country to the UK, USA, Canada. The economy is different, the landscape is different, the infrastructure is different, and the business opportunities there are different. There are a lot more small businesses, mom and pop type shop businesses. They say in the US, they mom and pop shop type businesses. Agriculture, maybe, tourism, of course, jobs in the government. And I've mentioned this before, but one of the best employers in the Philippines, for example, are call centers supporting US businesses with customer services, back office, etc. And call centers with overnight graveyard shifts. That type of job would be considered one of the worst in the UK for various reasons. It's considered one of the best in the Philippines. Right, so we are looking at a very different work landscape. And why is this important and relevant to this question? Because this isn't necessarily a hiring environment where you can find someone with the same skill sets, work experience, and cultural, professional expectations and understanding as you would in the UK or the USA. It's not a like for like. This is different. Now, that's not necessarily a deal breaker. But what it could mean is if you come to us, my agency, for example, and you have a CV, you have a resume that details the exact candidate that you want from the local environment, someone that you might find in New York or London who's worked with big companies and big brands on this specific industry type of project with these project management skills, and you want me to find someone from the Philippines exactly like that, we do potentially have quite a big problem. That may not be possible. There are project managers in the Philippines who work for big corporates. There are not as many of them. So it's not such a straightforward thing. And the other thing with my agency is that we do a huge amount of filtering, a huge amount of candidate quality control before we put candidates in front of clients. Now, I'm not saying that we're perfect, but what we do is get rid of a lot of time wasters, and we get rid of a lot of people that you don't want to see. So when we go for a specialist hire where it's much thinner on the ground, where there aren't as many people, then we are not anymore looking for a generalist where 100 people can apply. We can filter them and I can put the top 10 in front of you. We might get very fewer people. We might get few people apply. We might get no one apply who's got exactly what you think you want on paper. This becomes a very different type of hire. And I'm not really a headhunter. What I've always specialized in is bringing in Filipino talent, filtering them, looking for raw talent, someone who can be trained up, come into your business with a great attitude and enthusiasm and hit the ground running. And that's something that where we have got a sweet spot. My whole team reflect that work ethic. Some of them have got industry experience and it has been useful sometimes, but that's actually not why I chose them. And a lot of my team have actually changed industry in coming to work for me. So it's been interesting. They brought some, level of English and professionalism and a few tricks up their sleeve, shall we say, that they've learned along the way, and they brought them to me, and that's been great. But it's been very different. So that I just described, that scenario where you have this resume and you want to work with somebody that's the type of person, and directly translate it from what that would look like in the UK, USA, that's probably not going to work out. Not really. We can run adverts for it. If you want to offer a very attractive salary locally, and I can talk to you about what that would be more than £3 an hour. That would be potentially a lot more. It might draw some interesting people out of the woodwork. We can do that as an experiment. Absolutely. If the proposition's good enough and it gets out in front of the right people, sometimes you hit the jackpot. But it is different. So with that in mind, let me just say, if you were to ask me, do I use Filipino VAs to run projects for me? Do I have in-house people in my own team who are Filipino project managers who work for me? Yes, I do. And the way that I work with them is, first of all, I look for the talent to make sure that they are good at projects. They're very organized. They can collaborate across different stakeholders. They can keep things running in the organized way that I need, because it does require a certain level of proactivity that is a higher level, shall we say, than a Filipino VA who just who comes into your business and takes your existing operational processes and data entry, and you teach them step by step how to do things, the things that repeat over and over again in your business, and they get on and do them. And I'm not saying that's not useful. It is very useful to have Filipino VAs who can do that kind of thing. But when we're looking for the sort of people who can proactively manage projects, that could be a different type of person and a bit trickier to find than people who can just run processes for you. That's a great place to start, and it's a no-brainer for those tasks that need to be done in your business. But projects is a bit different. So with the project managers working with me in my team, I look for the skill set, I look for the proactivity, I look for the talent. I give them very small tasks, shall we say, that might indicate that they'd be good at project management. I train them and I collaborate with them a lot. I describe, how I want the project to be. They reflect back their understanding, and then we have constant check-in points about how they're doing with it. So it does involve quite a lot of my time and energy, and I am running quite a lot of projects through the business at the moment with those support and with that style of support that I've described, and those guys are flat out helping me. So it is possible. It is a bit more complex. It may not be something you should start with on day one of working with your first virtual assistant. It is very easy to get it really wrong. And I would recommend that you start with, I've talked about this in the How to Give Good Instructions videos. I show you how things are done within my business, the established processes and templates, and then you take those over and you get on with them on my behalf. And I just quality control and make sure that you do understand your output's good. That is a different world. And what I'm doing now is a little bit more advanced. And if you've never really worked in this way before, then be very careful, because it is full of potential minefields, and I wouldn't really recommend it as your first point of starting off with a VA. It is possible. If you do want to do it, if you believe that you can get it right, your communication has got to be exceptional. That would be daily meetings with that person. If it's an important project in particular, you really have to be on top of it, and you really have to have the right VAs helping you with it. So my VAs help me with different projects to improve our processes. I mean, like, as I said, they're very proactive. I've had them come from different backgrounds, including corporate backgrounds. There are people in my team. There's a lady, she was an accountant before. That's not what she does for me. There's another lady, she came from a kind of hotel hospitality type industry. That's not what she does for me. There's a lady in my team who came from acting. So she's had a complete career change, and she's doing an MBA part-time, and it's working really, really well. I'm not too interested in the background specifically, as long as I do see the talent and I see the output. So, I'm very open-minded about that, which I do encourage. I've had to nurture and develop these people a lot, and I'm still, as I say, very instrumental, very integral in checking the progress at a slightly higher level, but on almost a daily basis. And a lot of the projects that we're working on at the moment are what I call Kaizen, so improving our existing processes, becoming more streamlined, becoming more uniform on how we do things, creating more templates that can be used. So my team don't have to constantly create new things and try and figure out situations. We've already got templates that they can use and processes they can use to help them with that. We're doing lead generation, and we're doing a lot of content creation, which you may have noticed if you started watching these videos. I decided that it was time to effectively download my brain, as I called it, onto the internet, start talking about all the things that I've learned about VAs over the past few years that might help people. That is going out as social media content supported by project managers and my content editing team. And then a lot of this content will also be repurposed to help our clients with anything they're struggling with, just basically guiding and training them through all the different elements of working with VAs and the areas where they get stuck. So that's just some example of some of the things that are going on. All right, so hopefully that does help anyone who's thinking about hiring a project manager from the Philippines, as I said, be careful. If it's the first time that you work with the Philippines, you might want to start with something a bit more simple. If you are a business owner doing a lot of repeat tasks, and if you're the only person in the business and you're running all the processes, you might want to start with somebody just to take that off you at the bottom layer. Please be realistic about project managers. They will need guidance, they will need training, they will need explanation, and they will need your collaborative support if you want to do it that way. It is not really a solution to hire someone from the Philippines, say, you're my PM, here's a project brief, I'm not going to check in with how you're doing and just get it done, and I don't care how you get it done, and then come back to me. We're not there yet. There are organizations where you hire and bright talent and you tell them, this is my goal, you're an expert in the goal, you have the exact expert background that I believe is needed to transform this area of my business. Off you go, I don't care how you do it, and you can come back to me. That's not what we're doing here with the Filipino approach. It is different. We are training, nurturing these people. They are fantastic, they are proactive, they can work hard, they can be extremely talented, but I'm really, as I say, conducting the orchestra. I'm looking for the people who can play the instruments really well, but I am still here. I'm still here conducting the orchestra. And while we are in a phase of my business where we are improving our processes, I need to do that. Maybe there will come a point in time where I'm a bit more like McDonald's is in terms of processes. It's basically run by teenagers, cheeseburgers, and it looks the same all over the world because their processes are so solid. This cheeseburger looks this way, and they've got step-by-step instructions on what a cheeseburger should look like, how big it is, where the ingredients come from, and how you put it together. We're not quite there yet. We're getting better and better. But while that project's ongoing, I need to be instrumental on what the end goal of the different parts of my business is going to look like. So I do need to be involved for this stage. Once everything is systemized and I can't really see any improvements and it doesn't seem to be breaking, maybe at that point I can truly say to a member of my team, now you can run this, let me know if there are any problems, run it at a very high supervisory level, and I'm going to step out a bit. So that's still a journey that's not complete for me. It's ongoing. It's better than it's ever been, but still not complete, So I hope that that's clear. I hope everybody understands that. And I do hope that people understand that a project manager from the Philippines could be a good solution. But you have to take these things into account, and it will not be a hands-off solution. And that person's not really a consultant. They're more of a talent that, if you have the vision and the strategy, can support you to get things done 10 times faster than it would have been with just you working on it by yourself. So hopefully that makes sense. Thank you. And I'm signing out for today.